Hello everyone, wanted to provide an update on the AIWA, and I have, I think, fixed a few issues. So one of the issues is with the motor, and that seems to be performing a lot better now. The other one is it stops on auto playback when it's in a horizontal position. Now if you look in here, that board there is the auto stop circuit, and attached to that is this little metal thing here, metal pulley or metal wheel that spins around. Now in a horizontal position it falls down like that because it's come unstuck, and because it doesn't detect rotation, that's when the deck actually stops playback. Just notice that's riding a bit high, so I'll just bring that down a bit. Whoops. Very strong motor as well, actually. Probably best to do that with it deactivated. So the motor, it's actually a lot smaller than the original, but it still seems to work. And there we go. So let's put that down. So this is the motor. It's got a date stamp of 1984. It is another Matsushita motor. It lines up perfectly with the connections, the screw point, so that is good. Only two terminals though, like the other one, but that had more negative terminals. So this one has positive and negative, and we've got all of the relevant cables plumbed in correctly, or soldered in correctly. Soldered in correctly, not incorrectly. So I'm going to put a blob of glue onto that little metal pulley and see if that resolves the issues of it playing horizontally. So if I do this, hit play, you see it stops immediately, and that is just simply because we don't have that pulley rotating. Simple as that. Right, let's get that sorted out, and then we'll see where we are once we've done that. This has been a long time coming, and I haven't got it hooked up to a proper amplifier, but I've got it hooked up to one of the other bits of tat in my collection, which is this 1987 Hitachi cassette deck, one of the earlier 3D super woofer models, as you can see on the front there. So anyway, this AIWA cassette deck is now pretty much complete. The only thing that I've got left to do to it is to, if I want to, respray the top cover. But it is now working, it now plays back, and it seems to play back at an appropriate speed as well. So these are the things that I've had to do to it. One, replace the micro switch. So there's the micro switch on the side there that when you push the cassette tray in, that activates the micro switch, which enables the motor. Two, I've had to replace the motor itself. So here is the original motor, which I'm not going to put in the bin because it's part of the machine's history. So if I ever got rid of the machine, this would go with it. If anybody wanted to get it rebuilt, I think you could probably get it get it respun, so rewired. I don't know if that's respun, I don't think that's the correct word. You can get the motor recoiled, so to speak, and also get the brushes professionally replaced, and then you could put the original motor back in if you wanted originality. However, the motor that's in there matches this exact bolt pattern, and it is also a Matsushita motor like this one, but it dates from 1984 as opposed to 1976. Either way, it works. The only thing is it doesn't have this range of connectors. So you've got positive, which is this section here. So you've got three, what looks like, yeah, you've got three positive connections, and then you've got this set of negative connections, so you can actually put all of the three wires that need to connect to the negative side. They've each got a contact pad. On the new motor there's only two contact pads, so you have to bunch up the negative wires on one contact pad, but there's only one positive wire, so it doesn't matter too much, so that's been replaced. The other thing is belts. So the flat belt that goes from the flywheel to the motor is 120 millimeters in diameter, if I recall, or did I use the 105 millimeter? Either way, if you are restoring one of these, get yourself both a 120 millimeter diameter, 4 millimeter wide belt, or and a 105 millimeter belt, 4 millimeters wide, so 105 millimeters diameter. And you measure the diameter by having the belt effectively flat like that in its sort of loop, like so. Then you measure from point A to point B, and that gives you, effectively gives you the diameter of the belt. So I've hooked it up to this cassette player. This needs to be adjusted because this is actually the output level. A lot of older decks like this actually have a separate control output level for the outputs on the back, so that you don't distort the signal going into the amplifier, so you've either got a lesser extent or a greater extent. Newer decks just have all of that set up anyway. I think some of them automatically set it up. So here we go. Obviously I've tested this beforehand, but for you, the viewers, this is the... oh, I completely forgot. The other thing, I think I covered it in an earlier video, but the auto stop mechanism has a field effect, oh Christ, what do they call it? It's like a field effect sensor. It's basically a magnetic sensor. So if the magnet rotates, then it won't stop, but if the magnet stops rotating, it will auto stop. So it's like a phase lock loop circuit, a bit like a rotation sensor on the bottom of the video heads on a Ferguson 3V22. Or was that on the flywheel? Either way, one of them slips and you lose playback of the machine because the little sensor can't detect that there is rotation of the flywheel drum. I think it's actually on the bottom of the head. Yeah, it's the head sort of drum. But on this, same principle. It's again a phase lock loop circuit. If it loses the input from the, or loses the signal from the magnet, it shuts off. So that's why when I had it on its side, it would play back perfectly, and that's because the magnet had shifted onto the spindle and was actually rotating. So I used a bit of contact adhesive to glue it back into place. Anyway, here we go. We've got good speed, we've got good signal from the head because I've cleaned it. We've got sound on both channels. I call that a win in my book, and I think it looks pretty cool, to be honest with you. So, I'm not going to cover the spraying of the lid. It's going to be very similar to other stuff that I've done in the past, where you sand off the roughest, you prep the surface, you prime it, and then you paint it, probably satin black in this case. Anyway, but that is a successful conclusion to this project. This is a cassette deck I've owned since 1994. It is a 1976 AIWA AD6500. and it is nearly 50 years old, and it's able to go back into occasional service to play any cassettes that I may have. But I'm really pleased. It's working, and I'd say this is a successful end to the project. Anyway, if you have found this video interesting, if you found this series interesting at all, don't forget to hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you again very soon. Take care, and thanks for watching.